from the Public Policy Institute program. Good morning. And we also have Speaker Tina Munia Barnes, who kind of spearheaded this PPI. And I guess we'll just, if we could.
Thank you.
Good morning, Speaker.
Good morning, Banana Studios.
I don't want to say you guys' names wrong, so we'll just go ahead and let you introduce yourselves. We'll start with Mark.
And what schools you guys go to?
And what school you go to and all that good stuff.
My name is Mark Wang. I'm a sophomore and I go to St. John's.
My name is Chelsea Luo and I'm a senior and I go to St. John's.
My name is Sojung Ann. I'm a senior and I go to Harvest Christian Academy.
My name is Ayla Rodriguez. I graduated from JFK in 2019 and I'm a sophomore at Brown University.
Wow.
Are you on Guam?
Yes, I'm doing remote for this semester.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. Yay, public schools. Right on. Speaker, we'll start with you. Then really want to focus on the kids, but just tell us about the kind of the timeline of the inception of this program and what benefit do you think it's brought to the not just the students that are in it and the interns, but the island.
Thank you very much, Chris and Sabrina, for giving us the opportunity. These students are the interns from the Public Policy Institute Summer Cohort Program, and they are working closely with my office. I want to share with you that they're very hardworking, passionate, and well-rounded students. I'm very, very impressed with the work that they've done over the summer. They are all distinguished. They have all met the criteria of working over 80 hours. As a matter of fact, all of them worked almost throughout the whole summer. And I want to share with you that this group bringing critical issues to the forefront that may not be so popular, these interns took it upon themselves to make sure that we address the emotional and crucial mental fight that people are battling right now, especially during this time of COVID. And Kristen and Sabrina, without further ado, these interns have done a lot, so I turn the floor over to them.
We'll go ahead
and they have awesome solutions.
Right, and you know, I was able to see the presentation you guys did on the Compact Impact funding and the reimbursements from the federal government. Really, really, just very, very insightful. But bring us up to speed on, because I know you had done some COVID-related work. Bring us up to speed on what your most recent project was, and we'll go ahead and just feel free, guys, take the floor. We could start with Chelsea.
Sorry, what was the question?
Tell us about your most recent project and presentation that was COVID related.
Okay, so our presentation was an initiative toward mental health because this is obviously a really difficult time, not just because of unemployment, but also because of the fears of contracting COVID. And it's just a really uncertain time and people need more support. We noticed that in our research, we came upon the local crisis hotline, and we realized that they actually need more funding, and they've needed this funding even before the pandemic. But with the exacerbation of the effects of COVID and isolation and everything else, this is needed even more. So that's why we took it upon ourselves to meet with the director of Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center and tried to figure out a solution to help people, provide more support for them through the local hotline. And what they need right now is staffing and funding for that staffing, because a lot of the staff is comprised of nurses and physicians and counselors, and they have other responsibilities on top of answering the phones. So we want to not only help other people who want to call the hotline, we also want to help lessen the stress on those hotline workers.
Mark?
So what we looked at is we identified a funding source in which our project, we would essentially, we looked at the challenges that Guam Behavioral Health are facing right now, And so we identified a potential funding source, and essentially our bill would provide the tools, the resources that Guam Behavioral Health needs in order to fulfill their duties, especially during this pandemic, in providing mental health support for Guam.
Go ahead, Sojung.
Yeah, what is the funding source?
Yeah.
Okay, so we with our bill, we wanted to appropriate $400,000 from the Healthy Futures Fund to fund the Guam Crisis Hotline so that they're able to attain dedicated full-time employees. And with our project, our presentation elaborated on different suicide statistics, crisis hotline statistics, and even the National Suicide Prevention Hotline statistics. And what we found out was from this year alone, from March 15, which was the beginning of the pandemic, to August 31st, the Guam Crisis Hotline has received almost 3,000 calls. And we're pretty sure as of now that they have surpassed 3,000 calls. And there has been 26 deaths from January to August of 2020 alone, to specify suicide deaths. So with our project, with our $400,000 that we wanted to appropriate from the Healthy Futures Fund, we hope that that money can go back to the Guam Crisis Hotline and be able to improve their situation and be able to attain more staff members so that they're able to accommodate for all these calls that are coming in due to the pandemic.
I want to ask, what was it like to find, obviously, a very huge issue, and then to discover that there was a way that you guys could help by finding that funding source and trying to get more resources? Because this is, we've talked about, obviously, the public health emergency that we're under, but there's also an economic one and a mental health emergency, as the conversation over the last couple weeks has been about suicide and people needing someone to talk to. So here's an example of the work you guys are able to do to really kind of just go in surgically and get help where help is needed. So what was that like? Isla? Yeah.
I guess for us, like when we were doing our research and finding out this data, even like I think what we noticed is that it's actually a lot more common, and it's the statistics are they're increasing because of the pandemic and the issues that people are facing right now. Whether it's about economic security, job security, especially with their finances, and just with this uncertainty alone, there is that fear that people are experiencing. And when we saw it, because actually from before the pandemic, the Guam Crisis Hotline was receiving only about like 30 calls a month, but that jumped to about 500 calls a month. And when we saw how those numbers significantly increased, but there wasn't enough resources being appropriated for that support alone, we knew that we had to do something. And when we found out that there was a projected overage on the Healthy Futures funds, we knew that we could use this money to possibly fund the Guam Crisis Hotline and hopefully help our people with the support that they need.
Now, something you also did a policy brief, I'm reading here, on storm drainage solutions. Is that correct?
Not as hot an issue as some of the other ones you worked on, but yeah, let's get into the weeds on storm drainage issues, because it's real. We just saw
Tumon.
Flooding in Tumon, flooding in the south, flooded it.
Chris and Sabrina, I want to say that I don't see Sunny on with us this morning, but his project was he literally made a module to help with the storm drainage to be able to stop the drains from clogging up. And he has the prototype with him, and he looked at successes that are happening. He talked about South Korea, but he talked about a design for the traditional storage drainage that will help stop the overflooding of the sewage backs up. So the water will act as weight that would bring down the trap and that only the water can go through, and that all the debris that's flowing through to the drainage, that it would stop the trash from going in. So it was a device that we were really interested in looking at, and he has it with him, and we hope to work closely with Department of Public Works and GWA to see how we can look at this project moving forward. And again, he said that it is a module that can be easily made, and that he had a design ready for him, ready with him for us to look at. And he also said that the prototype that he had, if it was to be remade, that it would not cost a lot of money.
And I want to take it back to the interns here. We had a funny comment. Basically, they're doing the jobs of the senators. Legislature, take notes. Mark, no offense, speaker. Sorry, awkward, but.
I think the entire point of, for me at least, I see the purpose of this internship is really to just kind of get into the shoes of policymakers and to really understand how, you know, things are supposed to go on in the lawmaking process. And so I think, you know, yeah, it's just we just kind of get us finding this, identifying this funding source and then researching about this problem. I think it's a learning process for us interns, and to really just get an idea of what's supposed to be going on. So I think, yeah.
So do you guys plan on running for senator in the future?
Yes, yes.
Raise your hand. Come on, don't be shy. Okay, no.
Okay, yeah. You've seen too much, I guess. You're like, no, we just do this little internship and we're good. Okay. Let's go. I want to, because it is a presentation I got to see of the Compact Impact funding, right? How insightful was it for you guys to kind of go into this research? And maybe, I don't know if you were familiar with it before, but far-reaching ramifications of the constant shortchanging of our island at the hands of the federal government. So what was it like to do that research and to kind of say, oh, so that's why everything's lagging and we don't get proper services? Because I loved that presentation. I thought it was key. It was good. So let's talk a little bit about that, because that's an issue, again, that our elected leaders, just for a variety of reasons, to be fair, haven't really been able to successfully address with the federal government.
Chris, that was the previous cohort that did the presentation of that. This is every fall, summer, there are cohorts, different cohorts.
I guess I should take notes now, huh, Speaker?
I was wondering. I was like, where is he getting all this
I
information?
lost track of that. Was that last year?
But I want to share, yes, but I want to share, Chris and Sabrina, the importance of this Public Policy Institute. As you know, the 35th Guam legislature did pass this program, and made it become statute so that we could give an opportunity for these students and interns to come in and learn on the job training, but more importantly, to have that investigative research skill and meeting with all the different stakeholders, but more importantly, to find solutions. And this is what it's all about. And because that program is now statute, we're hoping that we can create more future leaders. And this is what it's all about. And these guys worked really hard to get into the program. And I'm just happy to know that that these guys have done an excellent job, and I'm so proud of them.
I have a question. Like, how did you guys fulfill this internship? Was it virtually? I mean, how were you able to complete this? Did you go into the legislature? This was over the summer, right?
We did this when Guam was in PCOR. When Guam was from PCOR 2 and moved into PCOR 3. Okay. So for the most part, the policy research, it was done in July.
Right.
So.
I see.
Right on. So let me ask you guys this and tickle your brains a little bit. Was we had a comment. Any solutions from these bright young minds for post-pandemic economic recovery? And go ahead, Mark. You got the floor. We'll start with you, and then just kind of go down the line.
Well, I think obviously this pandemic it's had a great effect on our economy. I think one of things that we really need to look at, and I'm pretty sure we are looking at, is definitely that we need to. This pandemic has taught us that we need to be able to diversify our economy, because Guam, we've relied too much on tourism, and we saw the effects that it has had on us when we depended too much on tourism. So I think it's really long term. We really need to find a way to find sectors that are able to be able to subsidize, or we're able to diversify, and we're not solely dependent on tourism.
Isla?
Sojung?
So actually, when we first started our PPI internship, we actually try to search for ways to help boost our economy, especially during these trying times. So we researched into what can we do to expand on tourism, or what can we do to expand in our economy in general. And we really realized that we need to be able to sustain ourselves, especially when these times are really hitting us the most in our economy. So we tried looking into even agriculture and aquaculture, because we can probably expand on that. And we even tried to expand on trading exports, and that led us to researching into the Jones Act as well. So yeah.
Interesting. Chelsea?
Right, as Sojung said, we were actually looking into this early on in our project, and I think rebuilding the economy post-pandemic without tourism is like $1 million question that everyone has right now. We were looking at ideas, just how can we diversify our economy, as Mark said. We were looking at fishing, also cannabis tourism, or just tapping the cannabis industry. And I know the regulations are still being developed in that industry, but we're hoping that we can find ways and work with the legislature to diversify our economy and try to bring back some of the jobs that we lost.
Isla?
Like what everyone else was saying, I think the number one thing that we all realize is that we do need to diversify the economy. And to add on to what the other people were saying, is that another area that we looked at was actually the Guam film office, because when when productions come here to Guam to film a movie, there's not really regulations in place for them to pay the government to actually shoot in our island. And because of that, we could have made that money. For example, there was a Netflix film that was filmed there, and we could have made a lot of money from that. And I think we could also advertise Guam as this like sort of exotic location, because not a lot of people in the world know about it. And that's also another way that we could possibly revive the tourism once everything is a bit more normal.
Interesting. So when we talk about diversifying the economy, right, this is not something that we can kind of stand up by next year. So what short-term moves do you think we can make to simultaneously get kind of back up on our feet and run parallel plans for diversification, Mark? Mark?
So I think, well, obviously, right now, I think we really. Okay, sorry. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, how do we kind of stand back up on our feet after this pandemic and diversify the economy at the same time? Because we can't just like, oh, we're open, hey, we're diversified now, right? We got to set these policies in place, right? From a policy standpoint.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, we obviously need to be able to get our coronavirus under control. I think secondly, it's really important that we get the infrastructure in place. Whether that be if we want to develop an aquaculture economy, we really need to make sure that the necessary infrastructure, the foundation for us to be able to develop and grow long term is in place. So I think one of the things that we need to look at is what are the things that the ideas that we want to do, what is that going to take, and what do we need to do now, and how are we going to get there?
So
I think
then,
we can also.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I think we can also look at other countries or states, such as Hawaii, who are kind of in the same situation as us, and try to see what they're doing policy-wise. Yeah, it's a difficult situation.
I wanted to ask about, you guys took a look at what was happening at the the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center with regards to a shortage of providing money to the crisis hotline. What about over at the Guam Memorial Hospital? Did you guys kind of take a look at what was happening over there? Or even public health?
So when we were doing our project, we mainly wanted to focus on a mental health initiative.
Mm-hmm.
And with that mental health initiative, we try to expand on helping our youths to even establishing a mobile crisis team for Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. But we found out that they already have one in place. It's just the fact that their Guam crisis hotline wasn't properly established yet. So that's why we mainly focused on helping Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. We knew that public health and GMH are going through a lot, especially due to this pandemic, but we wanted to do something for the people, especially with the surge in crisis calls.
We're kind of running out of time here, so I guess if we could just round robin style, tell all the other students out there why they should try and be part of the Public Policy Institute program at the Guam Legislature.
So
Okay.
I guess I'll start off. I think if you really want to obviously kind of understand what goes on in government, you should definitely come to the Public Policy Institute. Also, if you want to really do something that is able to make a difference on our island, I think public PPI, they give you the tools and resources to make those happen. So I think, yeah, for those of you, anyone who just wants to have a really interesting experience, I think PPI is something you should definitely look at.
Yeah, I think it is a great opportunity. I learned so much from working in the legislature and just sitting in on meetings with the heads of several agencies. We actually we paged for public hearings, and we wrote an original bill, and we were able to do all of this with the support of the policy team and Senator Tina Munoz Barnes. And they were really supportive. And whatever ideas we had, they were just there to provide support, to push it through, to see it through, and help us in any way they possible. And it's just a great program. And if you're interested in policy making or just learning about the government, local government in general, then I think that you should definitely try this program.
Sojung?
So the PPI internship is, of course, it's going to elaborate more on government, but it can also elaborate more on what kind of field you're going into. Like the past PPI cohorts have focused on medical, have focused on economic sort of things, and also even business types of things. And as our youths, we should take initiative and step into our government and try to provide some assistance for them, because you never know what our legislature is missing out on, and we could provide the assistance that they need in the end. And this internship gave me a lot of insight on Guam's community and how they are doing, especially with meeting a bunch of different agencies and hearing a bunch of different senators talk about their beliefs. And it's just a completely amazing experience. And the speaker staff helped us out so much that we were able to complete this internship as we are today.
I would definitely recommend the PPI internship to anyone who is interested in politics, policy making, and especially just to anyone who wants to help out the community and actually make a difference. If you have any ideas on how we can make our island a better place and to better serve our people. I think this is definitely one of the ways that we could do that, even though we're still young, even though we might not have a lot of experience. But I know that a lot of our youths do have ideas and they do have passion. And as long as you have those things, I think you'll be able to succeed in this internship.
Speaker, the last word.
Just thank you very much, Chris and Sabrina, for giving the interns the opportunity to share their case with the island of Guam, but more importantly, that this program will bring a lot of future leaders for our island of Guam. And this is where it starts. Sijus Masi, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to be with you and the island of Guam this morning.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, interns. Appreciate your insight, and go get them.
Yep.
Thank
Don't
you.
you guys got to be in school? Virtual learning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll get you back.
we're supposed to be in school right now.
Okay.
Oh man, so we're skipping school then. Risky. All right. Okay, guys, be safe. Wash your hands.
Thank you.
Let us know if you need an excuse note. Okay. Bye. See you, Speaker.
Thank you.
Okay, I said just right. Be safe. Stay home. 10:02.
Bad distance learning.
And they're like, "Oh, we get to skip school and go on the link. I'm in. Let's go." Bree, good job today.
Good job, Chris.
And closing takeaways from the show.